Bring it on. Want some, get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the Pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I don't think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get them on. I can promise you that.
Painted purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons.
Welcome into the Pirate Football Playback. A very sad night, only because this is the very last football show we'll have as far as the regular season and postseason is concerned. But the good news is that we can talk about a Pirate victory. How about 8 wins of the season? Kyle from LaGrange Barber, 8-5.
Yeah, unbelievable night Saturday night at the Military Bowl. Pirates get it done over the Wolfpack. One of the most memorable games I've ever been to. One of the most emotional games I've ever been to. Felt like old times. It was, Matt, I told you, it felt very nostalgic. It was weird to feel nostalgic in a place I've never been in before. Never been into Navy Marine Corps Stadium until Saturday night. But it was a very nostalgic feeling in there. The fan base, was loud. Pirates versus the Wolfpack. It just had that old Pirate feel that I hadn't felt in a long time. And Pirates get it done in dramatic fashion. And one hell of a win.
Hey, Matt, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the star on Saturday night for Sports Center, Matt Simmons is jumping up and down. And Bubba Rosenbaum trying to bear hug Rahjai Harris. How you doing, man?
Yeah, that's so funny. We were all over all over Sports Center that night. A lot of people, just friends and family who knew I was at the game, they spotted that from a mile away. So that was great. But all the credit to, listen, man, I got to start off the show by just saying what an amazing job by Rahjai Harris. I mean, he ran. Let's just go back. Forget about the very last run for a minute where he scored the touchdown. Early in the first half, you could just tell he was locked in. He was running so hard, and down at field level, he would not go down. I mean, he just wouldn't go down. He was running absolutely possessed that night, and I'm just so happy for him. Like in this day and age of, players leaving and coming and going in the portal, for him to stay for 5 years. And he's such a high character guy, just a great person from what I can tell. And he's worked really hard. He's come back from injury. Just really happy for Rahjai to be able to close out his career like that. And honestly, I think you had 2 teams who were ready to play a bowl game. I think both teams were completely prepared and ready to play. I thought our coaching staff did a great job. You think about all the things that Blake Harrell had to deal with over the last month, bringing in new coaches, that word again, the portal, hosting recruits and their families, so much stuff. And he had this team completely locked in and ready to play. And then, I'll kick it back to you guys, but I just want to give a shout out to those 4th and 5th year seniors, guys like Elijah Morris and Stevens and Surad Ware and Deontay Johnson. I mean, those guys, have been very durable. They've been gamers. They've showed up for ECU. They've represented the university really well. So just a great night for Pirate Nation, and really, really happy for Blake Harrell and the staff, and also those guys, the 4th and 5th year seniors who have hung in there and stuck it out.
No doubt.
Yeah, no, Rahjai, you talk about Rahjai, obviously, one hell of a game by Rahjai Harris. Rahjai's had a great senior season, particularly the second half of the year, and really happy for him. I didn't find out, recently, I don't want to get into this too much, but I didn't find out until recently that apparently I had upset Rahjai and his family last year with some comments I made on Pirate Radio, not here on the podcast. And, you say things lots of times and they're taken more serious than they're meant. And I'm glad Rahjai stayed and hope Rahjai has no ill will towards me at this point. Definitely appreciate his contributions to East Carolina. And you're right, a very high character young man. The way he talked about things after the bowl game, and we need more kids like him. Well, more I shouldn't say kids, more men like him on this football team. And he's really him and some of those other guys you mentioned are maybe the last of a generation where you have guys stay 4 and 5 years. At least for the foreseeable future. I think it'll change at some point back to how it was. But it just, it's a shame that, and we'll get into the portal stuff later. We're going to talk more about the game first, but it's a shame that, it's guys aren't going to, Matt, you're a Pirate. When people ask where you went to school, it's easy for you to say you went to East Carolina, you played football at East Carolina. What are these kids going to say that play, forget 2 schools, 3, 4 schools? Where did you go to school? Well, I went to school here, here, and here.
Hey.
I mean, where are your roots going to be? Where are you going to go back to? Where Matt standing on the sidelines, there's Rahjai scored that touchdown. Where are these kids going to go watch bowl games at and support what is going to be their alma mater with the way the transfer portal thing is going? And we'll get back to the bowl game and focus on that. But no, hats off to all these 4th and 5th year seniors and to the younger guys that seem to have the right attitude. Guys like Caton Hauser and some of the other kids that we know are sticking around.
Thank you, Johnny Gardner, with that nice. You beat me to
props,
it,
Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny on the spot there. Hey, Matt, it's funny because I say funny. I don't mean it funny, but ironic. If you think about it, these seniors, they had a players-only meeting. We talked to you after the Charlotte game. It was like, the program was on life support, basically. If you think about it, 3 and 4, our coach is fired. You think about Rahjai Harris and a lot of these seniors. I'm not bringing up the past. The reason I bring up the past, these guys made a statement. They said, we're not going out of here with a losing season, being 2-10 again. That's not going to happen. And I know there are a lot of us that wanted a winning season, and it was looking very doubtful. What did they do? 5-1, baby. 5-1. If you add the bowl game, it's 5-1. And it was funny, guys, because I told y'all at our after party celebration, Parts Unknown, we'll just call it that because they don't sponsor our show. But I told you guys that I was telling my sister's boyfriend, I said, Rahjai Harris has been carrying us all night long. I was noticing how he was running. It looked like it was his last game, but it looked like he was playing with that urgency, that intention, just like, today is I'm giving it everything I have to try to win this football game. And it was so cool to see him run and get the MVP. I said, if there's not a more deserving guy than him, because there's so many games in the second half of the season, he put the team on his back and made it happen. And again, for the Military Bowl.
Yeah, he sure did. And like I said, at field level, you could tell Rahjai was running possessed all night. Even on some of those tough inside runs in the first half where he only gained a yard or two, I'm telling you, it was taking 2 to 3 guys to bring him down all night. He was not going to go down. And, he just held nothing back, man. I'm just really happy it worked out for him. But, there's so much to talk about in this game, guys. And it's really interesting because when you look at it, it really went exactly how we wanted it to go in terms of the start that we got. We deferred the toss early, right? Gave NC State the ball. And, we were able to get a stop, right? They moved the ball between the 20s pretty well, but we got stingy in the red zone, able to get a stop there and then get points right away and take a lead. And that's something that the 3 of us and Bubba too, the 4 of us talked a lot about, was getting an early lead in this game. And then you're able to jump out, you get the field goal, you're able to jump out 10-0 and play with a little, momentum on your side. And that's exactly what we needed to do. So just want to kind of set the stage there. But, Kyle, I know you had some thoughts on this game, and I think your pregame prediction was actually spot on. I'll let you get into that.
Yeah, and I said on the air Friday night, somebody asked me to predict the score, and 34-14 just popped in my head. And Matt and I were talking later that night, and he said, "Do you really think we're going to win 34-14?" I said, "No, honestly, I don't." I said, "This is what I think is going to happen. I said, I think we're going to jump out to an early lead, like we did against Liberty, App State, etc., and then we're going to have to hang on. And the question is, can we hang on this time?" And we did. I said, I thought the crowd would be a factor early. I said I thought we would be more motivated and we'd come out and jump out to an early lead and have to hang on. Matt, if you think my prediction was accurate, have you seen the video of Holt Naylor's prediction from last week?
I did. Holton did a great job with that.
Holy crap! No, everything except go. They were going to go for it instead of kicking a field goal to tie it, and then but everything else. He said we were going to have to a big lead. State was going to come back, and then Rahjai would score. He even got the time right with like 1:40 left. How in the hell, Holton? Did you write the script for the game?
Actually, he did.
That was unbelievable. But dude, incredible game. I mean, just I have just me personally, I'm gonna be rambling tonight because I am about out of it. Saturday night, I think I got back to the hotel about 1:30 and went to bed. Finally, was able to wind myself down enough at 3:30 to go to sleep. Got up at 8:00 yesterday morning to come back. And then, guys, when you get your second win, that's the worst thing you can do. So I ended up going to bed last night about 1. So I did not come down from the high off this game until the day at work. And now I'm about to crash. But just from an emotional standpoint, before we break down more of the actual X's and O's of the game, Matt, where would you, forget your games as a player, because to me that's a different animal. But just from a standpoint of watching it as a fan and an alum, where would you put this game from an emotional standpoint and an excitement standpoint? I mean, it has to be, right up there from games you've attended as a fan, not a player.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Matt, you froze up.
Yeah, he's shocked.
He was a complete shock. He couldn't even put it into words. But no, Matt will rejoin us here in a second. But Dave, if you will, let Matt know he's froze if he doesn't know. Text him. There you go. He's unfroze. There's Matt.
Yeah, he's not shocked anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you, Matt. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on the game from watching as a fan and a former player.
It was as good as any. I mean, I had a blast at the game, man. Like I had so much. There was so much emotion in the stadium that night. I thought our fan base was awesome. I mean, they were into the game from the first play. What a turnout, up in Annapolis from Pirate Nation. So the fan base was awesome. And for me personally, it's one of the best times I've had at a ECU football game. Maybe the best time I've ever had. I mean, I think what made it fun was that, first of all, our team came ready to play. And there were so many swings in that game, in particular in the fourth quarter, the last 10 minutes. And we're going to kind of get into everything from the turnovers to the botched call by the official on Chad Stevens' touchdown, which was a botched call. It was a horrendous call.
Horrible.
And we'll get into all that. But I think when you have like the emotions like that, the swings up and down, that's what makes for a great game. And this game kind of had it all.
I would say, and, Bubba used the term the other day, recency biased. I was trying to think, where would I put this in terms of favorite wins, from an emotional standpoint of being there. And I'm going to go to number 2. 07 against North Carolina for me is the most emotional game I've been to. But I'm going to put this one at number 2. And there's a lot of other ones, that are in there for candidates. But just from a personal aspect for me, and not to make it about me, but we all missed the bowl game in 21 because it got canceled. Boston College pulled out. In 22, Dave, Bubba were at the Birmingham Bowl. I wanted to go to the Birmingham Bowl, could not go. I was getting chemo that day. So to be able to go to this game, just personally for me, was great. And, like you said, Matt, the fan base, electric from start to finish. The game itself was, back and forth, so much of, emotional roller coaster, momentum swings. So just fantastic. One of the best times I've ever had at a game, like you said, Matt. Same here. Did you guys? I wasn't expecting the fans to storm the field. Matt, were you expecting that?
Not really. I wasn't, but I think like considering everything that happened in the last 5 minutes with the fight, I think the fight got everybody riled up. Like
Yeah.
the fan base was ready to go. And considering the way we won and the fight that happened, I was all for it, man. To have the fan base be able to celebrate, storm the field, I thought it was awesome. And I could care. I'm not like one of those guys that's like, oh, we shouldn't storm the field versus NC State.
No, screw that.
Screw that. Like, have fun. You're a fan. It was great to see the fans do that. And with all the emotion, like I said, going back to that melee that seemed like it took forever. That fight, it took 10 minutes, maybe more to clear. So I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. What led up to the fight, and not so much did he grab his towel and then him getting Smith getting pushed down and jumped on, but State had 2 timeouts. I believe it was 48 seconds on the clock when we got the ball back. Why were we even running it there? I don't understand. Why we just didn't take a knee from the beginning. Mathematically, they couldn't get the ball back with 48 seconds to go.
Alex was sitting right beside me, and I said, we just won the football game. We're getting ready to kneel. And when they ran the football, I'm like, it's only 48 seconds left. It's not like a minute 30, like you have to chew off some time. I said the same thing, Kyle. I was like, I was confused on that because with the time left, you basically have two kneel downs, victory celebrate, formation 2 times, and it's over, right? I mean, Matt, maybe you can help me, but I thought, or Bubba,
no, we'd had to do 3. We'd have had to do 3 because they had 2 timeouts. Yeah. Doran that used his last timeout after the fight. But Matt, were you surprised when we ran it on first down there instead of just taking a knee from the beginning?
Oh, I was shocked. I didn't understand why you would do that, and there was really no reason to do that. At that point, you're just risking, something bad to happen. A potential fumble, a botched snap, whatever it is. But I was definitely shocked. I was also shocked that Dave Doran ended the game without calling his final timeout.
I wasn't. Not after the fight. Down after the fight, that did not surprise me at all.
I figured he would just call the timeout there to break balls and to basically just give his team a chance for something like that to happen, maybe a botched snap, something like that. So I was surprised he didn't call the timeout there. But yeah, it was definitely a curious decision. And you go back to the squib kick too. I mean, that was a decision that really backfired on us because NC State got the ball around their 43-yard line. So they started that final drive with great field position and timeouts in their pocket. So, they basically were in a really good spot there to try to have a chance to win that game. I get the logic behind the squib kick to a point, but it just didn't work out. And you got to make sure if you're going to do it, you have to execute it. And unfortunately, our kicker just left it way short.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And, it's not like our kick coverage has been bad. I think we gave up one, we gave up one decent kickoff return, if I remember right, or decent, for instance, one bad kickoff return. I think State ran it out to like the 40 one time. So it's not like our kick coverage has been bad. So I don't understand that. Another thing I want clarity on, Matt, you were at field level, and some of our viewers, did people? I've heard people say, I didn't notice it, but some people were saying that Blake was telling Rahjai to go down before he got in the end zone. Did anybody see that, or is that just BS?
The announcers on TV said something about it. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm sorry. I was just going to add to that. I didn't see. I mean, obviously, I didn't see Blake say that because I'm at this. I haven't watched the replay yet, but I had a friend of mine call me and tell me that he read the lips of Blake saying, "Go down, go down," and I was like, "Look, I understand the logic behind it. I'm not questioning Blake Harrell. Here's my thing.
Yeah, I am.
Now, here's my thing. If you do that, think about this. Think about the wonderful officiating that we had in that game. You scored that touchdown because there's no way in the world. In fact, I'll tell you guys, that officiating was so bad. I saw Rahjai score, and when I did, I looked to my right.
I think we all did that.
Because I was expecting holding, because a fumble that was clearly a fumble, scoop and score. That was a terrible call. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the officiating because we won.
We'll break down that scoop and score, but I wanted to, further on Blake Harrell. Look, nobody was a bigger supporter of Blake Harrell than me, and he had this team well prepared and ready to go for this bowl game, and we won it. So this is constructive criticism. Coach Harrell needs to stop overthinking things. You don't tell your player to go down when he's about to score a touchdown because there's no guarantee you're still going to score.
Exactly.
If he has to score, let him score. Don't overthink it. I think there was a lot of overthinking at the end of that game, from the squib kick to Blake telling Rahjai to go down. If that did indeed happen, I need to go watch and look for that on the replay. That kind of stuff. Overthinking things can lose you ball games. It's kind of like going, like that squib kick or going down at that. If we had to lead, go down run clock. But not when you're trying to take the lead. You better get that score. To me, it's the equivalent of, mad on defense when you've been aggressive all night and you're up by one score and suddenly you go prevent. You're overthinking things. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Prevents you from winning, usually, like they say, the old saying. And the last thing I want to do, guys, in that situation is leave another football game up to a field goal kicker.
Exactly. I just have to win it.
Yeah. Like Rahjai did the right thing. You get the ball in the end zone there. Our defense had kind of held them all night. They needed a touchdown in that situation. So the way you approach that, I think he did it exactly right. You get in the end zone. You don't leave anything to chance, right? I mean, how many times have we seen just in the bowl season where teams get down to the 1-2 yard line and they get stopped? I mean, I've seen it 3, 4, 5 times. So absolutely, man, get in the end zone, kick it off, play defense, and that's the way to go.
Yeah, even if he would have downed it to 1, took it at the 1, who's to say State, doesn't stop us, the next 3 downs and then we miss the field goal, or God forbid they strip the ball, and chances are, even if he'd have went down at the 1, State would have probably just let us score. Damn the difference, just to get the ball back. But my advice to Coach Harrell, and I love Coach Harrell. This is constructive criticism. Don't overthink things in those situations. Just I think Blake's an emotional guy, and lots of times when you start thinking with emotion, you start overthinking. And so I would, just advise to Coach that just don't overthink it. Squib kick in there, like Matt said, you understand the logic behind it, but how many times have we squib kicked all year? I don't remember us squib kicking in a single game. We may have, I don't remember it. I know we practice it, but that ain't the time to pull something out you hadn't done all year. And definitely Rahjai did the right thing, put it in the end zone there, because I believe I'd have lost my mind if he'd have went down to the game, even if it was at the 1.
Yeah, look what Bubba said. Even if we went down and didn't win, I don't know what I would have done. LOL. Exactly.
Well,
when you have a chance, it's one of those things where you play to win. You don't play not to lose. And for me, when you're playing North Carolina State, you're going to punch hard. No pun intended, because I know we had the fight, but you do, because if you don't knock them out, as you saw, and we knew, by the way, it was a heavyweight fight. The thing I'm proud of, guys, another point I wanted to make, is we knew the punch. I think I said this at our after party, that we knew the punch was coming. I think I told Matt, we knew the punch was coming. So once that punch came and they went ahead by 1, I'm proud of this team for getting back up and punching back. And Rahjai, I'm sorry, but here's my thing. That kid had the hot hand. It's like basketball. If you got a guy that's making threes all night, it's got 30 points, you don't be selfish and take the game-winning shot. You let the guy with the hot, or lady with the hot hand, shoot the ball. In football, he had it. I mean, he was the most valuable player from the jump. And
yeah. And it was a really interesting chess match from the very start of that football game to the end. I mean, let's just kind of go back to the beginning of the game. You could tell one of the things John David Baker put together for this game was the quarterback run with Hauser. That was a huge focus for us. And, at least 3 or 4 times. And, even the first 2 touchdowns we had were.
Matt, you're freezing up again, but Matt's obviously talking about Hauser using his legs. We knew Hauser had some mobility. We've seen some at Michigan State, a little bit here, but we hadn't utilized the quarterback run a whole lot with Hauser, even though if you've seen video of him, you knew he had the ability. So pulling out something we hadn't used a whole lot against NC State in that bowl game, and you God forbid you get him injured, but at least it's the last game of the year, so you have all the way till next year to get him healthy. So go ahead, Matt. You're on pros now.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the design quarterback runs were awesome, and I agree with Frank. I'm having some major Wi-Fi issues here tonight. I don't know what's going on, but the design quarterback runs were a huge part of the game plan. And you could see, you look what NC State did. We were able to complete, a lot of passes early. Medium type passes from within like the 10 to 15 yard range. As that game went on into the second half, NC State said, "The hell with this. We're going to load the box. We're going to bring tons of pressure on Hauser." And you wonder why it got so tough for us to complete passes in the second half. It's because they were really coming after us. And, I think there were at least 3 occasions where it was 3rd and long and John David Baker ran the ball on 3rd and long. And that's a ballsy thing to do as a coach because.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Matt's froze again. Matt, what you might want to try doing is turn your camera off and go to your static image. That'll probably help your Wi-Fi because then you'll only be trying to broadcast audio instead of video, if you can hear me. But no, going for it or running it on 3rd down is always a. We got a picture of Dave up there now.
Yeah, there's me.
Dave.
You're seeing
so, but the runs on 3rd down, particularly the one Rahjai scored on, and we did it several times during the game, but the one Rahjai scored on at the end, I love that call, and here's why. You're going for it on 4th down there, okay? Because obviously you're trailing in the game, by 1 point. If you're late in the game, you don't have time for another possession. So even if you don't, bust a big run, they're not going to be expecting it there. So at minimum, you're going to probably pick up 4 or 5 yards. So then you got a 4th and short. Whereas if you throw it there and you get an incomplete pass, now you're on 4th and 10. So I love the call to run it there because, even if it didn't work for a huge run, which in this case was the hugest run possible for a touchdown, chances are you're setting yourself up for a 4th and short. And there were other times in the game where we ran it on 3rd down and on 3rd and long. And I'm actually a fan of that at times because, people don't prepare for it. They always think you're going to pass the ball on 3rd and long. And, most of the time you are. But if you have the ability, to pop a big run, it's good to catch somebody off guard. And, I'm really not sure why in that situation it caught NC State so off guard for the very reason that we, would have had to go for it on 4th down regardless. So they were, they had a inside blitz coming after the quarterback. Rahjai cut it outside, then he cut it back inside where the blitzers were, and he was gone. And so, Matt's back with us. Matt, I was elaborating on what you talked about on running it on 3rd down.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that you could hear. But obviously, like I said, really ballsy play calls there. And look, you got to give a lot of credit to our offensive line too. I mean, our offensive line, that's the best I think I've seen them play. I mean, they really kept a pretty clean pocket for the most part. If you look at that last run, like just sort of an outside zone run into the boundary, the blocking was tremendous. And it wasn't just the O-line. It was also the wide receivers downfield. I thought Parker Moore and Hampton Ergel did a great job. You look at, I thought Casey Kelly, you look at some of those long runs, he did a great job blocking that night. So really, like, you got to give props up front. And like, I don't know, our offensive line coach, Matt Maddox, whatever we paid him this year, we need to double it, because that guy, like, Pirate Nation needs to give him some love, because he did a tremendous job with the O-line this year to turn that group from where we were last year to where we finished the other day. That's an unbelievable job he did.
By the way,
no, Matt had a reputation. Matt Madison talking about of being a offensive line developer. So he's really perfect for East Carolina.
Monica says the great thing about Rahjai's run is everybody did their job. Absolutely, Monica. Hope you had. Guess you're back from vacation. It looked like she had a great vacation, great Christmas memories. So I'm talking about. I don't think, Monica, did you go to the bowl game? I know they were out of the country. That's all we'll say. But looked like they had a great time there. And here's another one. Our good friend Richard Allsbrook. Shout out to Rahjai Harris with the big gains. The big 40-yard run from inside the 2-yard line comes to mind too. Richard,
Allsbrook was staying at our hotel, and Jessica ran into him yesterday morning, and he wanted me to come down, and I text Richard, and I say, Richard, I'm in the bathroom. I'll be down in a minute. And Richard, some bitch, don't wait for me. I come down there. I see no Richard. So I guess he got tired of waiting.
He's a very cool person, man. He can't wait around.
Yeah, well, you know what? Neither can my poop. So Richard, I would have liked to have seen you, dude. I didn't realize you were staying at the same hotel until Sunday morning when Jessica saw you. And like I say, you didn't wait for me. I don't know. Maybe you didn't get my message about being in the bathroom, but it is what it is.
Anyway, by the way, Matt, both Kyle and I we actually covered the parade. I don't know if you got our commentary on the parade, your favorite thing, but they did a good job. I tell you, and also, I said,
Matt, did you end up at the parade also? Because Bubba said that he kind of stumbled upon it like me and Jessica did, and I think Dave the same way. I had not planned on going to the parade. Went to eat at Chicken Roofs, and walked out, and there was the parade. So I actually enjoyed it. Matt, did you watch any of the parade? I know you hate parades.
I despise parades. It's kind of an inside joke we have. I've never been to a parade before in my life just because I don't want to go. But out of respect for ECU, I did go to the parade. I watched our band. They did a great job.
Do you still hate parades?
I do. Yeah, I hate parades.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing our band. I enjoyed seeing the horses. I don't know. It reminds me of being a kid at a Christmas parade. You know, so I enjoyed it, but not as much as I enjoyed the football game, obviously. But
guys, I wanted to give a shout out to the downtown. That downtown is like something out of a movie. It was great. By the way, I know Kyle and our foodies. I think Matt is too. But Buddy's Crabs and Ribs. It sounds so crazy to hear crabs and ribs in the same sentence, the same like the name of it. But their food was very, very good. And then my sister Amy, we stumbled across a great ice cream chocolate place called Kilwin's. I was telling Kyle about it. It was really, really good. And then I was mistaken. I was going to the parade because Matt and that's one way we're opposite. We usually agree on pretty much everything. But I thought the parade was at 2:45, and we walk out of Kilwin's, and the parade started. So I was like, I thought I was going to miss the parade. So I just had the time off by
Yeah, I thought it was at 2:45 also. So I don't know where we both got that from. But, we walked out of Chicken Roofs, and there the parade was. So stumbled across it. So anyway, that was fun. But back to the game, we'll break down different things throughout the game. We're kind of all over the place, not going chronological order. But let's talk about the fumble recovery for a touchdown that the officials decided they didn't want to allow us to have. There in the fourth quarter, on third down, you get the big tackle there, and it was clearly a fumble. I mean, clearly a fumble, not even questionable. And they say they blew forward progress dead. I never heard a whistle. Went back and watched it on TV.
It's no whistle.
Never heard a whistle. The announcers never heard a whistle. we won the game. Do we know what conference those officials were from?
Mountain West.
From the
Mountain West officials. Okay, so it wasn't a Power 5 bias. Was it a Mountain West against an American bias? The two premier Group of 5 leagues, if you will. I mean, that seemed so intentional. You would have thought it was ACC officials. Did you hear, Matt? You were at field level. Did you hear a whistle?
No. There was a terrible sequence there for the officials. At first they said that the runner was down. They said that the quarterback was down, which clearly there's no angle where you can tell me the quarterback was down. He was not down. That was a scoop and score. And then inexplicably, the official says, well, you know what? It was actually a stop of forward progress, which again was wrong. And I'll tell you, you
can't review that. That seems like cheating, Matt. That seems like they intentionally said that so the play couldn't be reviewed.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're going to say that his forward progress was stopped there, I can point out 10 times in that game where Rahjai was running hard inside and he was held up and 3 guys were flying in at his legs and his head. And, there's no way you can tell me that his forward progress was stopped. You can't blow the whistle that quick. I know we're protecting quarterbacks here and all that garbage, but come on, nobody can say they had it wrong on both counts. That was a scoop and score for Chad Stevens. Even the announcers on TV were kind of blown away by how bad that situation was botched. So I think that's one you send into, I don't know what you do. It's not an AAC game, but you send it to the league, the Big 12, and have them take a look at their officials because that was
Mountain West.
Mountain West. I'm sorry, Mountain West.
Yeah, if they would have stuck with the original call of he was down, then they could have reviewed it. So again, it almost seemed intentional. We're going to make sure they can't review this. So I just don't get that. I don't know why. And I'm not. It literally seemed like they were trying to screw us. I don't know what their motivation would have been, but that's what it seemed like. But thankfully, it was erased moments later, and hell, it could have been a situation where even if there was a hold on that play or a block in the back, they may not have dared to throw a flag at that point.
Yeah, and I definitely wanted to get Justin Butt's opinion on this because Justin is a high school official, and appreciate Justin chiming in as always. He says you send it to the NCAA, and Justin also says yes, it was a bad sequence indeed. So, absolutely. What else can you say about it? I mean, you feel bad for Chad Stevens because
Matt's freezing up again his audio, but he's talking about feeling bad for Chad Stevens because a scoop and score got taken away from him. In the Military Bowl against NC State, in his last game as a Pirate and a North Carolina kid.
Right. There's no question. And another thing, guys, I wanted to ask you guys about if y'all can help me and also the viewers and listeners. But there was 3 times that I noticed that, and maybe more, but maybe y'all will disagree with me, that the spots on Saturday night were not good. And they were at least a yard short a few times. And I could see it from my seat. So I know it's not in the field level rather, but it was short. And, where we were, where the play ended and where they spotted the ball were 2 different things.
I thought they were short on the fake punt.
They were.
That was Matt, did it look like they were short on the fake punt to you, or?
I went back and watched it on TV. I couldn't honestly. I think they might have got it. It did look at field level to me that they were short. But then when I went back and watched it on TV, I think they did get that. But speaking of that, Kyle, I'm glad you brought that up because the fake punt, and we had talked about this yesterday, but the fake punt changed the entire momentum of the game. That was a huge play because we were in firm control at that point. And
Matt's audio is cutting out again. But, the fake punt was a huge momentum swing when they picked up that first down, and then score a couple plays later, then get the ball back again and then score on a gadget play. And suddenly have the lead. But the fake punt was a huge momentum swing. But how about that? How about NC State? It's always East Carolina faking punts and running trick plays. How about NC State to be in the ball game and take the lead had to fake punt and run trick plays to even be in the ball game. And another thing that hasn't been brought up is, statistically speaking, NC State was one of, if not the best fourth quarter teams in the nation. And they certainly showed it up until the very end. And the Pirates, get the score. And then, some kid that used to play here got the pick at the end to ice the game. And, so that's impressive based on how well NC State has played in the fourth quarter all year.
No question. And they have one of the things that is typical NC State is between fans and podcasters who it's funny. What's funny is, on the one hand, it's not a rivalry, right? It's not a rivalry. It's not that. And we heard about that. And then when they lose, well, our players were this or that. There's all kinds of excuses. Our players, we have, the more talent. There's no way in the world we should ever lose to East Carolina. I'm like, you guys are so clueless. You should do what Coach Logan said years ago. He said on his show, he would make NC State, East Carolina, the first game every year. And he said, because that way NC State would be more prepared for the game and they would definitely take it seriously. He was talking about even Dave Doran. And that's the thing, is they don't take the game seriously. They're arrogant. And they have no reason to be arrogant. And another reason that it upsets me is that this is
they take the game serious. Their fans were pissing down their leg from the time that game got scheduled. They were scared to death. That's why they didn't show up Saturday, because they were scared they were going to lose.
Yep.
And they did lose. And as far as their players not taking it serious, let me tell you something. They took it very serious in the fourth quarter when they were losing and trying to, fight these. Not only did they lose the football game, they lost the fight too. So, they lost twice, two-time losers. But, it's that whole jargon of, I knew they were playing in our hands when Dave Doran said it's not a rivalry, and then said, well, we don't play them every year, so how can it be a rivalry? Well, you dumb son of a bitch. It's y'all's decision you don't play us every year. And, of course, it's a rivalry. Keep saying crap like that. Say it again. Say it again in August. It's not a rivalry.
For the next 8 months.
Keep saying it. I mean, and you would think with Ruffin there on staff that they would kind of listen to him. But I wonder how Ruffin felt Saturday night. Obviously he's wearing red and he's employed by NC State, but there had to be a lot of pride in his heart seeing the Pirates beat NC State. And I'm sure on the inside, even though those are his players, being assistant coach there, he truly loves all those kids. But I'm sure he was smiling on the inside just a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, hey, Matt, you know why our players are smarter than NC State players? Because our players that were suspended, not condoning the fight, let me just say that at all. But I will say this. It was funny that the majority of our guys were seniors, right? Bubba helped me out. Matt helped me out. That were
I think we had four guys get kicked out, and two of them were seniors.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's just talk about Dan. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm having some Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we got you.
Just tell me if you're not. But let's talk about Dave Doran for a minute. His game plan going into that game was precisely the wrong game plan. If I was an NC State fan, I would be pissed, because
a lot of them
I don't know.
Well, he fired his OC because of it.
I don't know what they were thinking, guys. Like I said to you during the week before the game, I said, I think what NC State's going to do is they're going to see our youth at corner. All right. Yep. Obviously, we're down Isaiah Brown-Murray. They're going to see that youth at corner, and they're going to attack our corners. And for some reason, Dave Doran goes into that game and tries to make it a slugfest. And he played right into the hands of what we do defensively. Yep. So he deserves a lot of criticism for the way he approached that game and for his game plan. And, I still, for the life of me, can't understand why they didn't take deep shots. I don't think they took one deep shot the entire game. I could be wrong.
I think they took one. Matt, I told you, when we talked to halftime, that clearly their game plan was ball control, keep away, keep the ball out of our offensive hands, and it had worked for some teams. But it was not the approach I would have taken for that game, and it did not work for NC State. I'm with you. I understood what they were trying to do, and they did limit our possessions. We had 3 offensive possessions in the first half. Luckily, we scored on all 3 of them. But no, one thing I will say for Doran, he was classy after the game. I guess when you get humbled, you have to be.
Yeah.
He apologized for his players.
North Carolina and East Carolina fights. Yep.
He apologized for his players fighting, and congratulated East Carolina on the win. And so I'll give Doran credit for that. But that's all I'll give him credit for. By the way, does every time we beat NC State a coach get fired? I mean, they fired their OC today. I swear to God, you go back and check a motto. It seems like almost every time. Mike O'Kane.
Yeah.
It's like multiple times, at least when it's the last game of the year. Coaches seem to get fired. Somebody gets fired at NC State when they lose to East Carolina.
Here's the thing. Like I said, Matt and Kyle, I know that they keep saying it's not a robbery. It's not a robbery. Let me tell you something. You need to wake up and realize that every time we play this game, and by the way, how many of you guys remember Labor Day of 22 that weekend? If we hadn't missed that kick, Daffer missed that kick, right? He missed that kick, or we beat him. We have a walk-off win in 22. So to act like that we're some Division II or Division AA school or Division FCS or a FBS school that's really bad, stop it. And Kyle, you made a great point. I tell you what the problem with State fans is they're scared to death that a team like us that's on the bubble, we should be a power school, if you will, and they're scared. You said this a couple of years ago, so I'm gonna give you credit. That is a team that's scared that we're going to pass them, and we're going to have you keep the momentum here. We've talked about the transfer portal. We've talked about NIL. I would throw JUCO, high school recruits, everything we can. Guys, I know, Matt, you're a transfer portal expert. I'm just going to say this really fast. I think there's a lot of 4-star guys that we can get out of high school that maybe, they don't have a chance because of the whole transfer portal thing. I'd be going after them like crazy. But anyway, I'm really proud of this team. And I tell you one thing, State better be ready in August when we play the end of August, 8 months away. Because again, we've have 3 in a row against North Carolina, and now we're on a 1-game winning streak against NC State. I think that was the thing you were talking earlier, Kyle, about the games. I think emotionally that was big because looking the way that our season had started with a huge disappointment of only being 3-4 and how it ended, winning the last 5 out of 6 and going 8-5 with that bowl game. I mean, having 8 wins. Think about it, guys. 2-10 last year, and this year, if you look like on the verge of a huge disaster season for 2 years in a row, instead, you win 8 games and you beat NC State in a bowl game. I mean, come on.
To backtrack, talking about NC State looking down at us and being worried about East Carolina and acting like we're this program or that program or whatever, like we're beneath them. Look, NC State football is mediocre at best. I mean, they've had, I think 1 10-win season, in the last, maybe ever, certainly in the last 30 years. They haven't won the ACC since 1979. They haven't won a bowl game since 2017. They are mediocre at best on a consistent basis, yet they act like, they're the, Alabama Crimson Tide. NC State ain't above anybody. So they need to get off their high horse. We'll just keep knocking them off of it. They want to say it's our Super Bowl. Well, that's fine. That's fine. We won the Super Bowl. We are Super Bowl champions.
That's why
you're absolutely right. And you know what?
That's why we rushed the field, because we won the Super Bowl.
Let's go back to that last game, the Daffer missed field goal for a second. Yeah. They should thank Mike Houston for that win that they had, because I mean, listen, that was conservative Mike at its finest, trying to line up and play for a field goal when you have, a Keaton Mitchell in your backfield and you have everything going in your way. It basically took Mike Houston to blow that game for us. So We should have had that win too. But look, it's a new era here in Greenville. I think we have more aggressive coaches. And look, there's no reason why every single time we play NC State, it shouldn't be a very, very competitive game where we have a chance to win. Because like you said, they're not above us. They never have been.
Hey guys, Craig is our comedian for Comic Relief. He says Commissioner Richmond needs to flex his political muscle and make all these things happen. Let me tell you, I will go back in the spring to Raleigh, and if you want me to, guys, I will definitely put in there North Carolina State. I don't care. That was one thing, guys. I will say this quickly. We don't talk about politics, but it was funny to see that Democrats and Republicans coming together on one thing, and that was the year before was sports betting. This year was for the state schools to play each other. I just thought that was funny. There's no problems we have in North Carolina except for the state schools to play each other. However, it was nice to see them to come together. And Craig, I will definitely mention to our state senators and our representatives that I talk to, I will definitely tell them that, let's make this happen, because
no, it's good for the economy for the state.
Yeah.
And it's good for the economy. It's good for the fans. And look, here's something else. NC State wants to say this it's their Super Bowl. All their best wins are against NC State. Look, here's the deal, you dumbasses. Well, we've beaten a lot better teams than NC State. Miami, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Texas Tech. You can keep going and going and going. Boise State. Boise State's above you too, NC State, despite being a Group of 5 school. But here's the deal. The reason it's so special to us, it's not because it's our Super Bowl. It's because we don't get to play these in-state or regional rivals on a regular basis like y'all do. Y'all are in the ACC. You get to play North Carolina and Wake Forest and Duke. And North Carolina's your Super Bowl. You get to play. We don't get that. So it's not just NC State. It's anytime we get to play any ACC regional school,
right.
It's a big deal to us. We don't get that on a regular basis. And I don't know why NC State can't get that through their thick heads. And I believe they know it. And they're just going to continue this narrative that doesn't work for them. And at some point, when you realize the narrative isn't working, you should probably change the narrative. It's like I was saying about Charlotte back in October when, everybody was predicting a blowout. I was like, I don't feel good about it because we're not embracing the hate. We won't look at it as a rivalry game. And, when you go East Carolina, we should learn from our own, we should learn from what has happened over the years with NC State and UNC and all the times we've beaten them when they were more talented than us. Yeah, we were more talented than Charlotte this year. But, two things. We got out-coached, and Charlotte, cared more about that game than we did.
Yeah, Monica says they're legends in their own life. Thank you, Monica. I remember, guys, this is God's honest truth. Their fan base about 10 years ago said, we should be in the top 10 like Ohio State. And I was like, no, there's no way in the world that you could ever say that you're going to be, you should be up there with Ohio State. I'm very sorry to tell you, but you're maybe a top 25 team at best, just like our school should be. But you're not in that top 10 calibers. When they fired Tom O'Brien, I heard that, and I was like, are you kidding me? There's no way between announcers and different things. Look, State actually is a basketball school. That's what they are. They're a basketball school. And I know that you guys want to be a football school, but you're a basketball school. Embrace basketball. You went to the damn Final Four. I mean, and let me ask you this. Okay, you have Kevin Keats, who takes you to the Final Four, right? He's taking you to the Final Four. How many bowl games have you won recently? You've lost the last 5, State fans. You've lost the last 5. And guess what? Dave Dorn look at his record in the ACC. And how many championships has he brought you? State hasn't won a championship since 1979. I don't care what conference you're in. You should be able to win that. You're NC State. If you're going to give me this logic that you're better than us, we have conference championships since then. We actually have 3. So don't give me this mess of about us, about how we're not good enough. If you guys would let us, hey, I tell you what, if you want to match us, I tell you what, put us in the ACC. We'll beat you every damn year, and then we'll give you something to really whine about.
I just want to go back to the fight for a second, guys. I loved it. I personally.
Yeah, Matt's audio's cut out again. Matt, your audio's cut out again. So hopefully he'll be back in a minute. But Matt was going to give his thoughts on the fight and how he loved it. And I'm gonna kind of, I know where he's going to go with that. And I won't say I loved it, but I love the passion, and I love that we still have some players that give a damn enough that want to fight NC State instead of just caring about NIL money like some kids do. Matt, are you back?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was the amount of passion in that stadium from our fans. I thought it was awesome, and except for the ref, you never want to see a ref get hurt like that.
Yeah.
But the passion, I loved it. And like I said, I just thought it added something to the game, the whole rivalry factor. And so I personally enjoyed it. And, I love the, the feel of the stadium when that happened. I thought it was great.
Hey, Matt, you know how Craig always talks about Bubba's internet? Well, now Frank is a new guy that I've never seen him before, but Frank's saying, I'm going to start a GoFundMe for Matt for some new WAPs.
Yeah, I've never seen Frank either, but yeah, this is the first time all year I've had issues like this with my Wi-Fi, so I don't know what's going on. We're having a storm up here, so maybe that's it. Who knows? But yeah, hopefully.
Oh well.
Yeah, there goes Matt's Wi-Fi's cutting out again, but he'll be back in just a second.
I think it's NC State that are trying to cut him off and censor him is the word I'm looking for. I think Matt, that's the problem. We have the state administration. They're not happy with your comments.
That could be it. But guys, some other things that stood out in the bowl game Saturday night. We talked about the play of Rahjai Harris. We talked about Hauser using his legs. Hauser in the first half really played well, and in the beginning of the third quarter. The 2 picks in the fourth, you hate to see that. You can't have that in that situation. That's something that we got to improve on. You can't be throwing picks in the fourth. State could have put us away, but to defense's credit, they didn't. And Matt's back. Maybe we'll see how it works this time. But to our defense's credit, Matt, talk about that. In the fourth, Hauser throws 2 picks. It may have been on back-to-back possessions, and all the momentum in their favor. Talk about the defense, how they stood up after in tough situations, giving up the 2 picks, and then the last stand where the squib kick they have it on a short field, and who tipped the ball to douchebag Nash?
Actually, nobody tipped it. Well, the NC State receiver just kind of missed it. It was a little bit of a high throw. Hopefully, you guys can hear me.
I thought it was tipped.
Well, the NC State receiver is the one who tipped it. Hollywood Smothers.
Okay.
It was a little bit of a high throw. It went through his hands into number 6, into number 6 hands, who happened to be in the right spot at the right time. We'll get more into number 6.
No, we'll go ahead and do it now because I just called him douchebag Nash. So we need to elaborate on that a little more before people just think I'm mad at a kid for transferring. First of all, I want to thank him for making that play and give him credit for that. And I want to tell Nash he's a very average player at best, and he would have been beloved in Pirate Nation for the rest of his average career if he would have just stayed put for that play. But after the game, and this is from a very, very, very good authority, very reliable source, Nash went into the locker room, and I can't say some of the words he said, and then some of them I shouldn't say. But he said this is about to get paid. I'm about to get some MFing money. He was cussing in front of Blake Harrell's children and wife, and a lot of profanity from what I understand. and was talking about how he was about to get paid and about to make some money. After making that play, and basically what it sounds like happened. And this part I can't confirm, but the other part I can confirm, and very reliable source.
That's
But
true.
basically after that, he was told, you're not getting any money. You're welcome to stay here on full scholarship. We want you on the team, but we're not paying you. And so he decided to enter the transfer portal. And I think what Nash is going to find out is ain't nobody else going to pay him either. Somebody, maybe there is somebody out there that's got some extra cash that needs some depth at corner that might give him 25 grand or so, but he's not going to get any significant money. Kid makes one great play, because the ball, like you said, went off of Hollywood hands, and he thinks he's going to get paid. And the way he acted, you know what? If he'd have went about it a different way, if he would have, been respectful about it, been humble about it. That's what I'm looking for. And then approached about NIL. Who knows? They might have worked something out for him. But the way he acted in the locker room, and apparently in front of Blake's wife and kids and other people's family that was in the locker room, it was ridiculous. And
Yeah, absolutely
and
embarrassing.
look, and I will say, let me say this with a caveat: if that turns out not to be true, and then I apologize 100%. But the person that told me this has never lied to me before, and was in that locker room. So I'm gonna take his word for it, or her word for it, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
But if it's not true, Matt, I'm sorry. If it's not true, then I apologize in advance, and I take back everything I said. But somebody needs to let me know it's not true, that's reliable, because I trust the person that told me that's what happened.
yeah, and I'm not one of these people who's when somebody hits the portal, I'm not going to be on their Twitter page saying thank you for your service to East. No. For me, it's East Carolina first. I can understand why some guys hit the portal. I really can. Maybe you're a guy you just haven't played, like Kerry King, right? I get it. Good luck to you. I wish you the best, Kerry King. You had an injury.
Yeah.
But in this situation, D Nash, right? Let's just talk about it. He graded out below average all year. He gave up leverage numerous times last night on big runs. He got burned on the touchdown to the back corner of the end zone. He plays 8 to 12 yards off because he can't press anybody and cover anybody. To be celebrating after you had a tipped ball, all right? Tipped ball just happened to fall into your lap. Thank you, Jesus. All right. To go into the locker room and act like that and say, pay me with the language he used. You know what? Get the hell out of here. Take your ass out of Greenville. We can do far better.
Well, and by the way, Matt,
hang on. We could do far better as a player and a person. And I do believe the source that said that. And so, you know what? We'll find a better player. Not at all worried about it. We'll find somebody that can play, hopefully within 10 yards of the ball and be able to cover somebody.
just got confirmation from a second source. So that's two sources now that have said he did that and said those things.
Yeah.
And look, we can't use the language on the air that he used, and it was bad. And in that situation, when it should be about the team demanding that you get paid, that's not going to work, son. It's not going to work. It's not going to work in life. You better grow up and get a grip on reality. Like I said, have some be humble. Have a slice of humble pie, and then maybe you would have gotten paid. There is probably somebody out there, a donor, that if you'd have been humble about it and came to the coaching staff and said, "Is there any way y'all can give me a little NIL money?" There is probably a donor out there because of you making that pick that would have got you some cash, and got you a little NIL deal. But the way you went about it, good luck, brother. Good luck in the portal with your being a very average player getting paid. I don't think it's going to happen for you. We'll see, but I hate it because you would have been beloved if you just had some class. you would have been beloved for the rest of your career at East Carolina for that pick.
Yep. And let's just say he does find 20 grand in the portal. Guess what? After taxes, you go pay your rent, you pay your monthly utilities. You don't have anything left. That's nothing. So good luck with your 20 grand. But in terms of the class, we don't need that here. We don't need that in our locker room. So personally, I'm happy he's gone.
No, and I was going to say this, by the way, I know you guys will agree with me on this, here's the deal. The great thing about the portal, it would be terrible in the past if we had a guy that transferred, right? But here's the deal. What's funny about these players.
By the way, Dave, don't want to cut you off, but just got a message from someone whose family is major donors to ECU, and said they would have loved to help him out, particularly after making that pick. But after the way he acted, hell no.
There you go.
So there you go.
The very fact that we have players, right? So when you have the players, and I've said this before, even way back when I was in college, we want people that want to be here, right? And I love the fact on his post, not to just keep dumping on this kid. If you really love Greenville, why in the hell didn't you stay? And guess what? Just like I told my son, who's a sixth grader, my sixth grade son is used to starting every game, right? He's usually the guy that you want the kid to shoot the ball at the end of the game for basketball. Guess what? He's having to eat humble pie because he's a young kid right now. But it's okay because he's coachable. He's working on it, not trying to make it about my son. But that's what you have to do. You have to realize that if you're an average player, how do I get better, right, Matt? How do I go in the weight room? Maybe now that we have a new strength and conditioning coordinator, that I'll do different things. But this business about me, I understand about the portal. We're not going to get off on that. But my point is that, okay, so you go bye-bye, and there's plenty of kids out there that between the JUCO ranks, transfer portal, high school, we can get kids that are way better than that kid. So that's what's so sad is that he doesn't, from his lens at a 20, 21-year-old kid, whatever, he doesn't see, I guess he sees what he sees at a 20-year-old kid, but he doesn't understand that it's things are a lot different than they used to be.
No, and he probably he regrets what he said in the locker room based on his tweet today, and was kind of told, hit the portal if you want to get paid. And sometimes you need to I've had to learn it over the years, and sometimes I still don't know it. Sometimes you need to think before you speak. And this is all keeps being verified more and more that that's the way he acted. And I'm not gonna wish him the best of luck and kiss his ass like some of our fans had, who most likely didn't know how he acted. But I am grateful he made that pick, because it iced the game. And like I said, if you'd have just had some class, you'd have probably got paid a little bit, and you would be beloved in Pirate Nation the rest of your career.
Yeah, I'm glad the ball was tipped directly to him.
How about this, guys? WRL had no coverage on the Military Bowl tonight, only a quick blurb on the OC change 99.9 The Fan, very quickly addressed the game, and then a 45-minute lecture about why playing ECU was bad. It's funny. I know those guys at the Fan indirectly, not like we're close or anything like that. But the sad thing is, what it is they're in. I'll just go ahead and blurt them out. It's no surprise.
Not catering to the audience.
They are state people. Here's what I want them to do. Stop pretending. Do you ever see me pretending to be a state guy or any other? No, I am an ECU guy. It's okay. Just tell everybody this is the state show on 99.9 The Fan. We know who those people are, and I understand it. Look, I went to East Carolina. You went to NC State. Not you guys, but the people that are on that radio station. Just say, hey.
Well, it's complete bullshit. And here's why it's complete bullshit. Because they played Northern Illinois. They play Louisiana Tech. NIU almost beat them, should have beat them. So, there's no, East Carolina, Northern Illinois, those two programs that are pretty much equal, except we got a way bigger fan base. It's nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense. If you're not going to play, I tell you what, Wolf Crap, if you don't want to play East Carolina, then do nothing but play Power 4 schools, non-conference. Play 4 Power 4 schools non-conference and never go to a bowl game ever again.
Here's my thing on it. It's so funny because if you're let me say this too. By the way, I can throw smack at you for State fans. Why didn't you show up? Look at our side. We were the home side, and we had a lot. There was a lot of Pirate fans there. It was unbelievable. I actually didn't mind waiting in line, guys, at the concession stand because that meant that we had a lot of fans there. You know what I'm saying? So you can use all the excuse of the world. Stop. Just admit you got your butts beat and move on. Stop saying you have. I'm tired of hearing you have more talent. I'm tired of hearing about Hollywood Smothers. Guess what? If he could have won the game for you guys too. If you stop saying that. It was funny because they go on one of these podcasts. They go, well, they should have given it to Hollywood. Well, Hollywood had the most touches. Huh? If he had the most touches, he could have won the game for you. Give our defense credit. The defensive line and offensive line played their tails off.
I don't expect them to give. We'll give them all the credit they deserve. I don't expect NC State to give us credit. It's a rivalry game.
The defense. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. You're right, though. I mean, the defense. Look, we bent at times, but we played tough all night. We never broke. They moved the ball from 20 to 20, but once they got into the red zone, several times we bowed up, played really tough, and then, I think Kyle, you had asked about this earlier, but in the fourth quarter, they had several times to kind of put that game away. And to our defense's credit, man, we held up. I mean, we held up. We made some plays. We got off the field. We gave our offense a chance, and so you got to give all the credit to those guys. And again, it's the senior leadership on that D line. All those guys we mentioned before, but I'm going to mention them again because they've been so durable. Deontay Johnson, Surad. I mean, those guys were, like I said, they always play. They're never hurt. They're durable. And they show up. And they showed up the other night.
Hey, no doubt, defense played great. And there's some other players that need to give a shout out, and we'll circle back around to that. But here's something I want to bring up here that was brought to my attention after the fact by a friend of mine. And I'm going to speak on her behalf. And I'm going to ask, somebody at ECU, I really don't know what can be done about it. You can't really do anything about it, but maybe somebody could do something for her. Rachel Chapman, who, if you know Rachel, Paralyzed Bride, she wrote the book several years ago, had a special on TLC. She, very little pirate. If you don't know her story, just Google it. Google the Paralyzed Bride ECU, and you'll find her story. But she's, in a wheelchair. Great girl. And her husband, Chris, wanted to go on the field. And security was not keeping anybody off the field but her because she was in a wheelchair. Now, let me tell you something. This is a grown woman who's there with her husband. If she wants to make the decision to go on the field, you'd get the hell out of her way. In fact, what you do, security at the Military Bowl, you help her on the field. If you're worried about her, you don't exclude people. And that pissed me off big time when I saw Rachel's post, and just want to get that out there. And there's really nothing that can be done about it retroactively, but just wanted to get that out there that people just sometimes, I thought my interaction with the security at Military Ball Stadium and the staff, one of them was extremely nice. The other two I interacted with were kind of assholes. But to not let Rachel on the field, look, let her make her own damn choice. She's already paralyzed. What the hell else is going to happen to her? I mean, if she wants on the field, let her on the field. And that pissed me off when I heard about that. So wanted to get that out there for Rachel. And like I said, I don't know what can be done about it retroactively, but maybe somebody at ECU can do something. Get her a damn autographed bowl hat or something. I don't know. It just makes me angry.
I'll say one thing else. I'm very disappointed. The one thing I'm disappointed when I was leaving the stadium is I really thought we were going to tear down the goalposts, and I'm joking. But I remember you were talking about the biggest games. I remember the 91 season and all those times those were torn down. But anyway, so I mean, it was our Super Bowl, right? So we should tear down the
No, well, we didn't need to tear down the goalpost at Navy Marine Corps Stadium under any circumstances.
I'm joking. I'm not really for the administration who doesn't know my sense of humor. I was clearly joking, so I was joking there. But
how about this, guys? How about the
90s,
fact? Oh, sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for those of us in the 90s, we saw a lot of, don't worry, I don't need to see any more goalposts torn down, because how many, this is just for a chat, people in the chat put this up and I'll pass it to Matt. How many times have you seen our goalposts go down in the 90s? It was a lot. So probably my whole lifetime, I saw it in one decade. So go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to echo your guys' thoughts. I mean, that's terrible. I mean, she deserves every opportunity to come down on the field. So hopefully ECU can do something, nice for her next year. And I'm sure they will. You never want to see that happen. One thing I wanted to point out on a different note is you look at the bowl games and who's doing well. The AAC is now 6-1, fellows, at the top of the board. The AAC is doing great in bowl games. Yeah. So just wanted to shout that out because, when you looked at this new conference this year, obviously so many new faces. We lost some of the traditional members like the Houstons and the Cincinnatis, but you brought in obviously like the UTSAs and Army, and it's got to make you feel good seeing a 6-1 record for this conference, and it gives you a better feeling about the conference moving forward, I think.
Yeah, and some good wins too. East Carolina over NC State, Navy over Oklahoma, Memphis over West Virginia.
That was shocking to me.
You had UTSA over Coastal Carolina at home. They were hosting that bowl game in Conway or Myrtle Beach, and UTSA blew them out. Army over La Tech. That was a shame that's what Army ended up getting after Marshall had to pull out of the bowl game because of the portal, and that was their own doing because I don't even want to get into that. But Army beat La Tech. Am I missing one, Matt?
Did you mention Memphis over West Virginia?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I think you got him. But good to see for the conference doing well.
Yeah,
no doubt. And shout out to David Blackwell, who's an assistant on Missouri staff. They beat Iowa today in the Music City Bowl. So happy for Coach Blackwell and Matt. Your time overlapped with Blackwell in '94, right?
By 1 year. Yep. And a great guy. Really happy for him. And Missouri's got it going, man. I think that's their second 10-win season in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So
it is, yeah. Eli Drinkwitz has done a great job there.
Hey, by the way, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, and for people in the chat listening or viewing, Frank has an interesting point. He says, "I wish we would stop rushing the field against these triangle schools."
I can't tell you the last time we rushed the field against the triangle school. We didn't. Okay, so let's look back at recent times here.
We didn't against
we beat NC State in 2016. We didn't rush the field. 18. We beat UNC, huh?
Yeah, in 18 in Carolina we didn't.
Yeah, we beat UNC in 18. We did not rush the field. We beat UNC in 2014. We did not rush the field. We beat NC State and UNC in 2013. We did not rush the field. So this whole quitting rushing the field against the triangle schools is something we just started again here recently as of this weekend. And it was a bowl game, and it was won in dramatic fashion. And, I can remember NC State rushing the field against us a couple times. 99. No, when we beat them in 99.
97.
97 in Carter Finley. And I believe they rushed the field when they beat us in Raleigh in 09 or 08. It was that 08 or 09? Help me out, guys. 08. So, it's not something we've really done. Even in 07, when we beat Carolina for the first time since the 70s in Greenville, we didn't rush the field. So saying we need to quit rushing the field against these triangle schools, this is the only example in recent history that has happened.
Right. And that's That was a special, and that's only. And by the way, Frank, we've played NC State twice in a bowl, the Peach Bowl and Military Bowl, and 2 wins. So we hadn't played them in a bowl in 30 since I was a freshman in college. So there's that too, is that we hadn't had that matchup. And who says that matchup doesn't? It sold tickets. So
just win the damn game. I mean, we can rush the field every time, as long as we win the game. Matt, what were you going to say?
Yeah, and I think the other night, I thought it was less about. And tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong about this, but in my opinion, I thought it was less about beating NC State as it was just a fan base just needing a big win after a tumultuous season last year.
We needed a moment, Matt.
Yeah.
And part of it was about beating NC State, but it could have been a number. It needed to be a so-called Power 4 opponent. And I think also for the in-state people, we hadn't beaten an in-state team since 2018 at the FBS level. So it wasn't necessarily NC State. It was the way the game ended. It was a Power 4 opponent. It was an in-state school. It could have been North Carolina. It could have been Virginia Tech. It could have been South Carolina. Could have been a number of different schools, and we would have rushed the field.
Yeah,
but
think about where we were. Think about where we were coming off a 2-10 season.
Yeah,
you fire your coach midway through. Think about this fan base obviously loves ECU football to what they've been through. I think it was really just and then you throw in the dramatic touchdown from Rahjai and the fight at the end. And I think the fan base just wanted to let off some steam more than anything. So I thought it was pretty cool. But
that was great. I don't think it needs to be explained. I don't. The people that have a problem with it are the same people that's bothered by them saying it's our Super Bowl. Who gives a damn? Let them keep saying it. It just adds fuel to the fire. I love it. Say it's our Super Bowl. Say it's not a rivalry. Just keep throwing fuel on the fire and watch what keeps happening.
And keep getting your ass beat, right? I mean, that's the thing you don't learn. It's the definition of insanity. You don't learn that. Again, if I were as a Boot Corrigan, that's the AD, I would be scheduling this game every year. I say, okay, we're going to do it. We'll do it one at Raleigh. We'll do one in Greenville, one in Charlotte. We'll just keep rotating every single year. I'm telling you right now, the tickets.
I don't want to play them every year. I don't want to play them every year. I want to play them. I do want to play them on a regular basis, but I don't want to play them every year. I think, I'd like to see, maybe a rotation of North Carolina, NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, one of the 4 on the schedule every year. But I don't want to play NC State every single year. I think it makes it a little more special. I'd like to play them more often than we do. But I think not playing them every year makes it a little more special when we do play them. So I don't know, Matt. Where would you rank this all-time bowl wins? I have it. I was going back and forth. Obviously, the Peach Bowl in '91 is number 1. The Stanford Liberty Bowl. I think that probably has to be number 2 because it put us in the top 25 to end the season, at least in the AP poll. And it was, went over Stanford, 9-win season. I think we finished 23rd in the AP poll. You should remember that. You were on the team. I would put it 3rd after that in all-time bowl wins. Beating NC State, rivalry game over an ACC opponent in the Military Bowl. I put it 3rd all-time with apology. And some people are going to say Boise State. Some people are going to mention Texas Tech. Those are fantastic wins, and that Boise State win certainly. You could argue that for number 2 or number 3, but I'm going to put it 3 after that Stanford win in the Liberty Bowl with Boise State being close behind.
Sounds about right. I mean, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I agree with you, emotionally, but also in the Independence Bowl in '78 was the Independence Bowl was a really big deal. That bowl back then when I
wasn't alive.
I know that, but as a kid, that bowl used to be really, really big. It doesn't matter now, but at that time, maybe hasn't stood the test of time as far as the importance of the bowl. But at that time, that defense that we had, not just because we did the party for the '78 team, but if you look at their stats, that to me was one of the. I mean, to me, that would have to be it definitely has to be in the top 5. And I definitely agree with you that this military bowl win has a lot of significance, especially when you look at who we played. I thought the fact that it was I got the opponent wrong. I said the military bowl. I just thought it would be UNC, but it's fine. We beat State. But I will tell you guys that one question I had for both of you tonight, and
I wanted to get Matt's thought on where he would rate the bowl.
I would say right in there, 3 or 4. Kyle. I mean, I think you had it right. I have a hard time rating these things. I mean, I just think, like, again, I'll go back to it. I think that it's definitely up there. It's definitely in the top 5 for sure. And I think just for different reasons. Like, you think about where we've been the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and
we
again,
needed a moment.
Man, we needed a moment because I'm so sick and tired of, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I love the moments we've had as a program here. But, like, I'm kind of sick of looking back, like, oh, remember that team from such and such 20 years ago, and those were awesome teams. But, like, we needed new moments, man, and, like, that's what was cool about this. And again, just after everything, 2-10, you fire your coach, you look dead in the water. This was a dead program after the Charlotte game. We were as low as we could possibly get, and to turn it around like this, I think that's one of the things that makes it not so much that it was NC State to me, but it's the situation and what the team has been through this year. I think makes it, top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I think if you would have put a bet out there after that Charlotte game that we were going to name Blake Harrell head coach and then go 5-1 and beat NC State in the Military Bowl, you could probably win a lot of money on that.
Hey, by the way, Monica has a great point. She said that in 2021, Boston College could have been a moment. Obviously, the bowl game was canceled because they said that they had a whole bunch of kids with COVID with the military bowl. So, but she's right. I think that was a.
100%.
I would like to. I don't know about Matt, but I'd love to have them on the schedule. We can come up and see you, Matt. I don't know how big is that stadium at Boston College?
It's not huge. It might hold, like, honestly, I want to say, like, maybe 40,000. I could be wrong. Bubba would know. We were there a few years ago. Bubba, if you can chime in, what does that stadium hold? It's not huge.
Man, what a great setting, Navy Marine Corps Stadium. I love the backdrop there. I don't know what the building was that I was looking at to the kind of in line with the, I guess it would have been the north end zone off in the distance. You guys know what that building was?
I don't. That's something that was.
You guys at field level, Matt, you might not even noticed it. But it was a beautiful building there on campus that was backdrop to the stadium. And I thought it was a great setting for a ball game.
No doubt.
And like, that was my first time to Annapolis. So I don't know, maybe one of you guys said this, but whoever said it, it's spot on. Annapolis is like a mini Charleston. Like,
yeah, it was me.
Yeah. Okay. So that was you, Kyle. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, it's like, you got the history there. It's a great setting. The downtown is pretty awesome. It's a good spot. I would definitely like to go back on, like, a nicer day for sure to take in the town, do a pub crawl around Annapolis, all that stuff. But definitely a good venue, good stadium for it. My only complaint with the stadium, was that they were really bad about replays. Like, some of those plays, like the play where the quarterback clearly fumbled and Chad Stevens scored. They should have been showing replays on the big board, but they didn't for some reason.
Yeah, that got on my nerves too. My only complaints would be again about some of the staff, but the stadium itself was great. The city of Annapolis is a very pretty city. The downtown's gorgeous, very historic. Obviously, being home of the Naval Academy, I knew it was near water. I did not realize how coastal it was. And then you cross over the Bay Bridge like we did to go over to the Fisherman's Inn. And Matt, you guys stayed over there. It reminds me a little bit of being at the Outer Banks, actually, just a little bit. Great city, great area. I'd like to go back during the summer, stay out, more towards the coast.
Yeah.
And, do Annapolis, DC, et cetera. Somewhere I'll definitely visit again, maybe this coming fall to watch us play the midshipmen.
We're actually I checked on that, by the way. I was wrong, and I admit when I'm wrong. We're not playing Navy next year.
Navy's not on the schedule next year.
That was one of the things I was going to tell you. I was looking at the schedule, by the way. This is one thing I will do.
Well, thank God, actually. I'd like to go. We can just go to Annapolis and enjoy it. I know Matt's glad. Matt has said
Good
before
Lord.
he'd just soon play Alabama because we're going to lose anyway.
Exactly.
I'd rather play Alabama than Navy for sure. Yep. I'm glad they're not. I'll take a year off.
Exactly. Guys, really quick, here's a really, really way too early look at the schedule, but I like doing this and get your guys' thoughts. And Bubba had a point. Matt, if you put it up, let's get some as far as our schedule for next year. Nobody needs to complain about our season ticket or home schedule for next year. Get your season tickets when they go on sale. What is it, guys? January, February, coming up in the next month or so. But we have State is going to be August 30th. You've heard us talk about that. We have Campbell, and here's one for Kyle. A road trip with Kyle, September the 13th. We're going to be at Coastal, so they're Myrtle Beach. Then we have BYU at home, Dowdy Ficklin.
And BYU could be a top 10 football team.
Yeah, we got on the schedule. And then as far as that's the 4 non-conference, as far as this is just alphabetical order. They haven't obviously made the conference schedule yet, but we're going to have Army at home, Charlotte, Matt's favorite team at home. How about this, guys? I'm really happy to see we got Memphis on the schedule at home. We have Tulsa at home. We're at Temple, at Tulane, and we also have a game. I want to go to San Antonio really bad and see the Alamo Dome. I really like, from what I've seen, the pictures of that town. I've never been to that city, but I'd like to make a road trip to San Antonio.
Then you got Army, BYU, and Memphis all on the home schedule next year. That should move some tickets.
Yeah, I mean,
is the quarterback for Army back?
Yeah, I believe so, Matt. I do not think he was a senior. Right? I don't think Horvath at Navy was a senior, I believe, but right. I don't. I could be right. Bubba, you answer that question if you're into the chat. You'll know, or JR out there. They'll know for sure if the Army quarterback was a senior. He may have been a senior, Matt. I said he wasn't, but he may have been.
Okay. Great player. I mean, great player. I actually, like I said, not to get off topic and talk, but I think he can play in the NFL almost like a Taysom Hill type role. Not your every down quarterback, but he can, dude, he's such a stout runner. You could give him the ball in short yardage. You could do some wildcat stuff. You could, there's a lot H-back, but he definitely has a future in the NFL.
Yeah, and speaking of the academies and just being up in Annapolis at Navy, one thing we have failed to mention, and we should be ashamed of ourselves. Good friend of the podcast, Pete Medhurst.
Oh, yeah.
We know he's sick. I believe he is battling brain cancer. And does anybody have an update? I don't know if anybody's heard anything about how he's doing.
Back before we played Navy, we were told that he was in rehab. So what was that? A few weeks, probably about a month ago. He was in rehab, learning how to talk again. So if you know Pete,
okay. Did he have surgery to remove the tumor and
that maybe Bubba will know. I'm not sure.
I'm assuming if he's in rehab, that would have been post surgery.
I know folks I actually know folks for the flagship station of Navy. So I will see if I can find out for you guys. But anyway, that I'll tell you guys off the air.
Thanks to Ronnie for chiming in. Bryson Daly, he is a senior, and to Noah Callum as well. He's done. Definitely a good thing for every other team in the conference.
Here's a great thing. Thank you, Frank and Ronnie, for chiming in tonight, and Noah as well. But Frank, he said he'd like to see the AAC and Mountain West do some scheduling agreements. How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't mind it. The Mountain West, Frank, as you probably know, is losing some teams. The Pac-12 is coming back into existence in 26. So they're going to lose Boise, Colorado State, Utah State, and several other schools. So it's going to be kind of a revamped Mountain West with some schools like UNLV, New Mexico remaining. You're going to have UTEP moving over to the Mountain West. Northern Illinois looks like they're about to move over to the Mountain West. So yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I don't know that it's necessary, but I wouldn't hate it. And you could do the same thing with the new Pac-12 when it starts play. But I wouldn't mind it. Particularly, I think maybe something like that in basketball. I know the MAC and Sun Belt do a challenge to start the season in basketball. I've thought about something like that with the Mountain West or the ATN and the American. I think that could be fun, probably more so for basketball.
Yeah, that for me would be, guys, I think that would be good. I agree with you guys. I think that would be good. In fact, Frank says it beats Campbell. I would like to see that in our non-conference, have maybe like how they do for basketball. I think you were saying that for basketball, but have that a non-conference game and do it every single year. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, he's saying he'd rather play. Well, so he said, well, you're going to play one FCS school a year. That's just how it is. I mean, there's no need not to. It counts towards bowl eligibility. I have no problem with one. Next year you look at the non-conference schedule. You got NC State, BYU, Coastal Carolina, and Campbell. There's nothing wrong with that non-conference schedule. Now, if you want to make an argument that you would rather play a Colorado State versus a Coastal Carolina, you like that national exposure, then that's fine. But I don't want to. Here's the reason I don't want to stop playing one FCS school a year, because nobody else is going to stop doing that. So you play 4 non-conference schools against FBS opponents and nobody else is doing it. All you're doing is handicapping yourself from having a winning season in bowl eligibility.
Well,
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, guys, so
All right, you
we're
ready?
kind of just veering into just one other topic I wanted to kind of get into, just change insight a little bit here, is just kind of looking forward. Like, obviously, hey, we just put a wrap on this season. A lot of news today in the portal. And, like, we obviously have a lot of bodies to fill, in particular on the defensive side of the football. I mean, we are essentially replacing almost an entire defense, minus a few players. So, it's going to be really interesting over the next few weeks to see, we have a new DC in place, Aldridge, and, he's going to want to bring in some of his guys. But I think priority number one right now for me, because we've addressed some of the offensive line needs. We've brought in 3 guys in the last week for the O-line. But defensive line, I think, is the biggest priority right now when you look at it. We brought in 2 guys. We brought in a transfer from Houston, but not much game experience. A lot of talent, but not much game experience. Last name is Benton. Then we bring in a guy from Towson. I think we need 3 or 4 more on the interior D-line. And I think that's where it has to start. You build from the inside out. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here over the next couple of weeks. Can we backfill those needs?
Yeah, we're going to have to. And, a lot of people are concerned about the secondary with the amount of attrition we've had there. But we've also had some pickups there. If you haven't been paying attention, we signed a FCS All-American from Western Carolina at corner. Our former starting safety, who transferred to Houston last year, is transferring back here. So we've already filled some of those needs in the secondary, and I think we'll be able to. We need to get a secondaries coach in here, Matt. But I think once we get a secondaries coach in here, I think we'll finish off the secondary pretty well. But the defensive linemen are always the toughest thing to come by at East Carolina, along with offensive linemen. And you are correct. Those are needs that we are going to have to find a way, to get some guys in here with some experience. One thing that I wouldn't be surprised to see some JUCO D linemen coming here, and it could be into the post spring ball that we're still signing defensive linemen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt. I mean, because we just have so many needs there, and yeah, we did. We got Will's right. We got a D lineman from Towson. So that's good too. So good start. We're going to need a lot more. And, wanted to address Ronnie's question regarding who's going to be the running backs in the running back room for next year.
I was thinking about it too.
Yeah. So I can tell you who we have. We have London Montgomery, transfer from Penn State, and we have Marlon Gunn, who's going to be going into his 3rd year in this. So those are going to be the starting points. We just brought in a JUCO transfer last week who committed to us. His name is escaping me right now, but right now we have those three guys, and I think you're going to add at least one more guy that you feel good about.
Yeah, I think you got to. In fact, I was thinking about that today. That I don't know if people are realizing how big of a loss Rahjai is. I like London Montgomery. I like Marlon Gunn. The JUCO kid. I think wasn't there a high school running back, Matt, that you liked a lot that we signed?
Yes, there
From
was.
Havelock, maybe.
Damn, I don't have the names in front of me right now. I'll pull it up here as we talk. But yeah, there was.
But you're right though that we have got to get another running back out of the portal, and I am sure there's somebody out there. I would imagine you look around at some of these Power 5 schools that are 5 deep at running back, and you can probably find a good running back that is looking for some playing time and a little NIL money, and you just got to evaluate that talent correctly and make sure you don't miss on it.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, guys, do you have anything? By the way, if I don't get a chance to tell everybody, I assume this will be our last show of the year for 2024. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions that you're going to do, or do you ever do that? Do you have any traditions like eating black-eyed peas on New Year's Day?
Yeah, absolutely. Being a Eastern North Carolina boy, I always eat black-eyed peas on New Year's Day. In fact, that's one of the few things I cook. I always buy dry black-eyed peas, soak them, and have a special way I make them. So yeah, I do that actually. And New Year's Eve party tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. So no, it should be a good time. As far as the resolution, I resolve to continue to try to enjoy myself as much as I can.
How about you, Matt? Happy New Year to you, my friend. And Bubba also. I know Bubba has a night off. So, Bubba, Happy New Year to you and your family. Matt, Happy New Year to you and your family as well. What's your resolution? Do you have anything you're doing or tradition?
Man. Thanks, man. You as well. I mean, it's just going to be it's going to be wall-to-wall football in my house. It's going to be. I have a lot of family that Penn State fans in my family, so we'll start with the playoff game tomorrow night, and obviously New Year's Day is going to be, for lack of a better term, a smorgasbord of football games. So it's going to be a lot of football. I think I'll get a bucket of buffalo wings to take down the entire day. I could work on, and it's going to be awesome, man. I'm off the whole week from work, so it's just going to be a lot of football, a lot of good times.
Yeah, I was off all last week and a few days the week before that. I had to work today, got to work tomorrow, and then I'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, back to work Friday. Also, obviously, I'll be watching a lot of football, and I wanted to get one more thing out before we sign off here. We had not really mentioned this, and I don't know how we have failed to. Thanks everybody for coming out Friday night to the Fisherman's Inn. Everybody that joined us, there was probably 70, 80 people in that room, and they weren't all listeners of the podcast. A lot of them were Jody Schultz's teammates, but we certainly had a lot of podcast listeners who brought their fans and family with them, and we appreciate everybody coming out. It was a success. We had a little audio trouble at the beginning, but we got it straightened out, and thanks, Jody, for the hospitality. And, pretty good crab cakes there. If you're ever in the Annapolis area again, check out the Fisherman's Inn. And, Matt, what's the name of that town? Y'all stayed there.
Kent Island, right? It was Kent Island?
Well, it is on Kent Island, but there's the town itself. Graysonville, yes.
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody, for coming out, and thanks to Fisherman Inn for having us.
Yeah, I've got to go back to the Eastern Shore. I told Kyle pre-show, I had never been, I'd always been on the bucket list of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. I've heard about that since I was a little boy, and unfortunately it was dark, so I couldn't see it. But like Kyle said, echoing what he said, it was kind of like reminding you a little bit of the Outer Banks. That's the closest.
The Virginia Dare Bridge, yeah.
And the Virginia Dare Bridge, absolutely. But anyway, thanks to everybody. In fact, make sure you get your tickets for season tickets when they go on sale, because we told you the 2025 season is one of the best home schedules we've had in a very long time. Guys, thank you so much for everything in 2024. I'm looking forward to a huge year in 25 for think about baseball, ranked number 7. We've got that, and football again. But we'll wait till we get there, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Pun intended. All right, we'll get out of here. You guys have a great night. Happy New Year, everybody, and as always, go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.